Entrepreneurs, business owners, professionals who seek excellence, bringing the business classroom to you. It's the Business Builders Show. Here's Marty Wolfe.
We still got a long way to go. Yes, we all got a long way to go.
Welcome to the Business Builders Show with Marty Wolfe, the show for entrepreneurs, business owners, and business leaders. I'm Marty Wolfe, your host for the Business Builders Show, and along with my executive producer, DC Taylor, we will be your guides on this learning journey. I want to let you know that we record this show in the studios of 94.3 FM The Talker, which is part of Bold Gold Media, and we are in my hometown of Scranton, Pennsylvania. DC Taylor, hooray for Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Yes.
All right.
Getting it done here.
We like
in northeastern Pennsylvania.
There you go. We always like to give a shout out to our hometown. The Business Builder Show is distributed by C-Suite Radio. That's c-suiteradio.com. You can find the Business Builder Show and many other fine shows on C-Suite Radio. You know, DC, and people know this, but, you know, we pay our bills with our sponsors. You know that, right?
How about that?
Yeah, we have to pay our bills, and we got a new sponsor. It's Neopost Postage Meters.
Welcome.
Yeah, welcome to that new sponsor, and we're going to be talking about that in a special offer. So in addition to this incredible guest that we have, are we ready? Do we have him on the line?
We have him.
We have him on the line. Ira S. Wolfe joins me. Hi, Ira. How are you?
Hey, hello, guys. How are you doing? Marty and DC, great to be back.
Yeah, you've been on before. You're one of my favorites, that's why. You know?
Well, that's good to hear.
Well, you misspell your name, you know, but you know, mine's W-O-L-F-F and yours W-O-L-F-E, but that's okay. I look past that. Now, getting serious. Ira is a special guy. I've known him for a while. I'm in the power of networking. We were at a networking event one time, and that's how we met, and that's probably already 2 years ago, Ira. So let's get to it. What are we here for? Let me tell you about Ira. If there is a crystal ball for what the future of jobs and work will look like, it probably lies in the head of Ira S. Wolfe. His near-perfect forecasting of the future workplace has positioned him as one of human resources' most visionary leaders. Ira was one of the first and most outspoken leaders to talk about job and skill shortages about 20 years ago. More recently, Ira has been on the leading edge of how exponential change is reworking work. Ira speaks, writes, and consults frequently on disruptive innovation and its impact on talent management, talent intelligence, employee selection, and 21st century leadership. Ira is the president and founder of Success Performance Solutions and has written a great book called Recruiting in the Age of Googlization. Did I say that word right, Ira?
Oh, absolutely, you did.
And the subtitle is When the Shift Hits Your Plan by Ira S. Wolfe. Now, you let me know about this book some time ago, and I was honored when you asked me to review it. And I had some comments that you were kind enough to put in the book. So, Business Builder Show listeners, let me tell you what I said about Ira's book. Having read hundreds of books and interviewed an equal number of business experts on my Business Builder Show, I know real insight when I see it. The way we do business, and especially the way human resource operates, must change. Recruiting in the age of Googlization is one heck of a read. Ira, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, thanks, Marty, very much. And hey, thank you for that endorsement. It was great when I sent the book out to be reviewed by a lot of people. It was humbling to get some of the responses back. So, but I really appreciate yours because I know you talk to a lot of business leaders. You're out and about and networking. And so to get that was very, very humbling. So thank you.
My pleasure, my honor. It's a great book. So let's get to it. Why did you write this book? I guess, where did you see the need? Why did you write it? And then I'd like to know, who is it written for?
Oh, good questions. I was on before. We talked about the geeks and the geeks, geezers, and Googleization. I think that was our first conversation.
Yep,
That was
it
a couple
was.
of years ago.
Yeah.
And the first stumbling block on Googleization for you. And then I went and looked back, and certainly things have I don't know if they've progressed or not, but things have changed a lot. And we were talking in when I wrote that book, and that was 2009. I talked about the millennials, and I talked about technology. And the thing that I realized is that I needed to update it. I started this process about 2 years ago, and 6 years had passed, and it was amazing because, as certainly we've moved beyond the millennials, or we should move beyond the millennials, because now we have Generation Z. But especially in the technology part, which is really talking about Googleization, the one thing that I realized is when I wrote that book, only at the time it was only 6 years prior to that. Now it's 7 or 8. There was no such thing as an iPad. We didn't even know what tablets were. I mean, tablets were paper tools with lines on it. And so I started writing it as an update to that book, and realized it had to be written over from first word to the last. It was no longer an update. It was no longer version 2. It was something startling new, because things were exponential change. It was just changing much faster than ever before.
Yeah, let me jump in. How the hell do you write a book and stay current? I mean, things are changing virtually every second. You kind of talk about that in the book. So maybe that's an unfair question, because I do want to know who you wrote it for. But how the heck do you do that, Ira? I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah, I don't have a great answer for it, because I had to finally. I got to tell you, I think I was on the show last year just about this time. It was around Thanksgiving, and we talked about when the shift hits your plan. That was one of the original tentative titles, and it made it to the subtitle. And part of it was, my goal was to have it to the publisher by Thanksgiving, and then by Christmas, and then at the end of January, and then by Easter. And finally in May, I just had to stop. And talk about that in the book a little bit.
You do, yeah.
Every single day I thought I was finished, something new happened, and I wanted it to be current. And finally, you just have to pull the plug. And 5 months have passed since I sent it to the publisher. And every single day, I've already I don't know if I started on another book, but I have so many notes for disruptions. New technologies, new changes, new shifts.
Well, but people can keep up. Let's give people your website, because I know you blog. I know you're active on social media. People, you share your information. The book is sound. We're going to get into details and stuff that people should know. But how do people stay up with you and your current thoughts?
Well, there's a couple ways. We're living in the world of technology, and everybody has a different favorite source. I'm certainly on a lot of social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. But my website, Success Performance Solutions, a long name, but successperformancesolutions.com. I also have another blog at perfectlaborstorm.com. Okay. And I do have a podcast at geeksgeezersgoogleization.com.
Okay, we're going to keep
lots of different ways.
Okay, we're going to keep repeating that, but at the beginning of the show, I mentioned we got to pay some bills. So, okay, do we take a short break, Ira?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, so we're going to talk about our new sponsor. It's Neopost postage meters, and what they want to be known for is to be a business champion, a business ally, but they want to be problem solvers. And think about this. If we think about all the time that business spends to process and send mail-in packages, if we spend just 15 minutes a day doing that, that's more than 7 full days a year focused on mailing and shipping. That's crazy. So I'm going to talk to you in a few minutes about a special offer you can get from our newest sponsor, Neopost. And so stay tuned. You're learning a lot from our guest, Ira S. Wolfe, and his book is Recruiting in the Age of Googleization, When the Shift Hits Your Plan. So I did ask you a few minutes ago, who did you write this for? Tell me that quickly, and then I want to get into what do you mean by when the shift hits your plan?
Yeah, when the target audience is certainly I deal with HR, human resources a lot, small business owners. We work with mostly small and medium-sized business owners. But really, the book is I had a few C-suite senior executives from large companies. Really appreciate my take on things and where things were going. But it's also for people that have kids or people looking for a new career.
Yeah.
What's the new world going to look like? What's the new world of work?
Yeah, so the new world of work, I guess that, again, go back to the subtitle of the book, When the Shift Hits Your Plan. What do you mean? And that seems to resonate with a few people, huh?
Yeah, absolutely. And here's one of my favorite quotes, and I'll give Thomas Friedman,
Sure.
from The World is Flat, and Thank You for Being Late fame, and great columnist.
Yeah.
I picked this quote up in his book, and it's from Richard Miller. He's president of Olin College of Engineering. It's probably one of the most progressive schools in the country. He says, today's job market is like marching into a forest that no one has explored in search of things you have never seen, searching for jobs you can't imagine.
Wow.
And that pretty much sums up the world we live in.
Yeah.
It was trying to make sense of that, and we're still trying to make sense of it. I wish I had the final word on it, but that's yet to come.
Yeah. One of the quotes in the book, probably people are probably pausing, highlighting, making notes. It said, you say, exponential change doesn't play favorites. Exponential change doesn't play favorites. What do you mean by that?
Well, let's start with exponential change. And, it just means things are changing really fast in a greater scope than they ever have before. But to put some maybe numbers so people can picture that, we are used to, and, we're baby boomers, and we grew up in a time when there was always change. Things always happened. But change happened at, let's say, 10%. There was a 10% change every year over time. And that was pretty predictable as it was incremental. What exponential change is, things change at 10 times the pace that they used to. And that's the world we're living in. I mean, things are just accelerating that much faster. It's not that things are 10% different than the year before. They're now 10 times differently.
Mm-hmm.
So part of that is how fast things are changing. And it affects everyone. I mean, people think that, hey, live in Scranton, that's different than living in California. It's not. Technology has affected the world. We're all globalized. It affects everyone.
It sure does. So give me the title of your book again and tell people how they can reach you and keep up to speed on what your work is.
Recruiting in the Age of Googlization is the title of the new book. Keeping up with me, my website, successperformancesolutions.com. Frankly, they can probably type my name into Google and find out. I've got a series of videos. I've got a couple blogs going. I've got a podcast. So pretty easy to find me.
And his name is Ira S. Wolfe, Wolfe. So I promised you some information. You're probably waiting for this information, Ira, on Neopost. So here's what we got. We got a special offer for a limited time. The Business Builder Show listeners can get up to 6 months free by using the promo code Marty Wolfe. So visit neopost280.com/Marty Wolfe. That's just the way it sounds. NEOPOST280.com/Marty Wolfe. And enter your zip code to see if you qualify. And then make sure you put in the promo code Marty Wolfe to lock in 6 months free. Ira, that's a good deal, huh?
It absolutely is.
It's a great deal.
I've not heard of them before, but I definitely will look into
write
it.
that down, man. We gotta pay some bills here at the Business Builder Show, So again, neopost280.com/Marty Wolfe. Make sure you put in the promo code Marty Wolfe to lock in 6 months free. You have to put in your zip code. So please do that.
Stay here for more of the Business Builders Show with Marty Wolfe.
This episode of the Business Builder Show is brought to you by Contractor Succession, LLC. If you are in a construction-related business and you want to exit your business in the next 5 years, then contact us at contractorsuccession.com. That's contractorsuccession.com. If you want to exit your construction business in the next 5 years to finish strong and finish well, contact us at contractorsuccession.com. Okay, back to Ira S. Wolfe. Okay, maybe this is a little negative, but I got to ask this. You're in the world of human resources, of talent management, talent recruitment, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What kind of blunders do you see companies making? What do you think are the biggest recruiting blunders you see companies make? And do you talk about them in the book?
Well, I absolutely do talk about them in the book. That's
I know you
what
do.
It was about. There's a couple things. First of all, I always try to dispel a few myths, and these are stumbling blocks people just fall into. One is, as I like to say, is the millennials are no longer are not aliens.
Yes.
They actually share a lot of the same DNA as we do. So
Yeah.
one thing is people blame the shortages and the difficulty in hiring on the attitudes, and the enemy became the millennials, and it's time to get over that.
I agree. Amen to that, brother.
Yeah, finally they're making, they make up 75% of all the workforce in just a few years. So get over it.
Yeah.
The other part is that the future isn't coming, it's here. The line between science fiction, automation, artificial intelligence, machine learning, 3D printing, autonomous vehicles, coming much faster. But all that kind of falls into how does that affect recruiting? Well, because things are moving so much faster, there's still a lot of companies that are hung up on, when there's an opening is when they start looking. And the expectation to hire just in time, to hire somebody in 2 or 4 weeks. I just did a seminar yesterday for the American Staffing Association, and I did a poll. And the poll was, what's the average length to hire people? And it's essentially, for over half of them said it's longer than 2 months. Some of them said it's longer than 90 days, and a few said longer than 180 days. It used to be that somebody quit, you put an ad in the paper, you did a couple interviews, and with 2 to 4 weeks, you had somebody to replace them. Now it's months, and for some top difficult to fill positions in engineering, in healthcare, specialized nursing, it takes a year and a half for some of everybody's position. So the number one blunder I see is just the expectation that you have an open position, you're going to fill it in a few weeks. That's just not the case. Let's
everybody start with, and again, you said at the beginning of the show, this is for everybody. If you're job hunting, you're obviously HR but everybody in an organization, you got to read Ira's book, because it's always changing, but there's a lot of current thinking in here, and as he just pointed out. Ira, I want to make this statement. That I do executive coaching, and I'm with companies just like you. Let me tell you something. In my opinion, the number one issue is talent recruitment and retention. Number one. I have clients who are struggling to do work because they cannot find talented people. It's a huge issue, man.
Yeah, I've had clients that I know, and I've heard from people like yourself that their strategic plans have been cut. I mean, they basically say they can grow at 20, 30, 40, 50%, and they've cut way back just because they don't have the talent, the resources to do it. Absolutely.
It's huge. So Ira S. Wolfe is my guest. Give me the title of your book again, and tell us again how we can reach you.
Recruiting in the Age of Googlization is the book. It's available up on Amazon, and will be in all the bookstores in just a couple weeks. And they can reach me at successperformancesolutions.com, or just type my name into Google. I'll show up in a lot of places.
You will. And good stuff. So, we're limited with time. So we like to kind of say, well, okay, we've identified the problem. Do you have some recommendations that maybe some of these companies can go to first, I guess? Or what thoughts did you have?
Well, I created an acronym, and it actually talks about going through the recruitment funnel. And the acronym is called REACH. It's REACH. So it talks about breaking down the cycle when you're struggling to find people. Where is the problem? And the first thing is how do you reach enough people? Which is a marketing issue, by the way. That's not an HR issue. It's a marketing issue.
Amen.
And a branding issue. The next stage is engaging. That's the E. So we had reach, engage. Once you once an applicant or a candidate is interested, you got to reach out to them right away. This is no longer hey, when we have time, we'll do it. And there's multiple, we can spend the whole session on that. But the third step is the application, and which is the A. And I've got to say that this is probably the number one stumbling block people have.
Yep, I agree.
Their applications are horrible.
If I had to do one online,
yeah, we track this, and one of the first questions I always ask somebody is that how many applicants start an application but don't complete it, and they don't know. First of all, so that's my
scary.
first suggestion. If you don't know, find out.
Yeah,
and it's as high as 95%. And those are people literally walking through your front door saying, "Hey, I want to apply for a job." And your application process deters people. So
unbelievable.
That's probably the number one spot. And then the final two, which we don't have a lot of time to spend on, is even if they're not a candidate that fits today, have a conversation with them. Send out blogs. Just treat them like customers. They may be a future an employee, or they may know people who would be a good fit for your organization. So, just because they don't fit doesn't mean you should ignore them. And the final stage is hiring doesn't stop at your job offer. You need to do a good job at onboarding and retention. Many people are hired, but then they get lost in the pipeline, once they get on your payroll. And that's really, really silly, a bad practice to have a for onboarding process. So reach is the kind of the 5 steps, reach, engage, apply, have a conversation. And when you hire, it doesn't stop at the job offer.
Yeah. Keep on hiring them. Keep on recruiting them.
Yeah, it's good for us.
Yeah, keep it going. So we need to wrap up, and engaging, very engaging. So wrap up by taking the last minute or so, and what do you really close strong? What do you want people to really take away from this book?
Well, I think there's 2 parts. As the first part of the book talks about is that exponential change, which we talked about briefly before. I think the one statistic that's most powerful and seems to resonate most well with people is that, more than nearly 2/3 of all jobs will be at least 1/3 automated, which means that everybody's job is going to change, or at least 2/3 of people's jobs are going to change. The other third are going to go away. So that's even scarier.
That's scary.
But everybody's job is going to change. The level of skills that are going to come up. I think everybody needs to be aware of what jobs are going to look like, what work's going to look like. That's going to change how we recruit, and it's going to change how we work and, basically make a living. And the other part is, directed more at HR and businesses. They just need to adapt. They need to change quickly the way that they recruit people. We're no longer living in the age of the typewriter. We're living in the age of mobile devices.
Yeah, so we're talking about when the shift hits your plan. My guest has been Ira S. Wolfe. Again, give me the title of your book and how people can reach you, Ira.
Thanks, Marty. The title of the book's Recruiting in the Age of Googlization. It's available on Amazon, other bookstores across the country. And they can reach me at successperformancesolutions.com, or just type my name, Ira S. Wolfe, into Google, and I will come up in many places.
Ira, you are a gentleman. You are a smart man. You are doing great work. This is a phenomenal book. Thanks so much for sharing your wisdom with us on the Business Builders Show.
Yeah, thanks for having me again. Really appreciate it anytime. And good luck.
Thanks so much. Thank you again to Ira S. Wolfe for being our guest on the Business Builders Show. I want to remind you again about a special offer from our sponsor, Neopost. For a limited time, our listeners could get up to 6 months free by using the promo code Marty Wolfe. Visit neopost280.com/Marty Wolfe and enter your zip code to see if you qualify, followed by the promo code Marty Wolfe to lock in 6 months free. That's neopost280.com/Marty Wolfe. Enter your zip code to see if you're lucky enough to participate in that great deal. So, on behalf of myself, Marty Wolfe, your host for the Business Builder Show, and DC Taylor, my executive producer, thank you for listening to the Business Builder Show.
Bringing the business classroom to you. It's the Business Builders Show with Marty Wolfe.